I was really sad to see it go. It was one of those moments when Graham called me and said, "I'm not going to be coming back next year." I said to him on the phone, "I feel like you're breaking up with me, because we had so much fun creating that role. Not just the role of Amy and Ty, but also Amy and Ty's parents. I thought, that's something that's really going to be missed." But then, part of me started to think maybe this could be a great journey for the viewers, because the viewers are obviously going to miss Ty. They're going to miss that relationship. Season 19 opens with a twist that will leave you breathless. Ty Borden is back, but this isn't just about a reunion. It's about Amy's heart torn between the love she thought she lost forever and the life she tried to rebuild with Nathan. What does Ty's return mean for Amy's future? Will Nathan step aside gracefully, or will his heartbreak lead him to leave Heartland forever? Grab your tissues, because this season premiere is an emotional roller coaster you won't want to miss. Heartland Season 19 kicks off with a thunderstorm, both in the skies above Heartland and in Amy's life. As the rain pours down, Amy is in the barn, tending to Spartan, her trusted companion through all of life's ups and downs. She's lost in thought, reflecting on the choices she's made, her relationship with Nathan, her journey of restoration, and the affection she still feels for Ty. Unexpectedly, there's a thump on the stable entryway. She freezes. It's late, and she wasn't anticipating anybody. At the point when Amy opens the entryway, her heart skirts a thump. He is right there, Ty Borden, remaining in the downpour, fit as a fiddle. Briefly, time appears to stop. Amy's breath gets, and destroys well in her eyes. She's overpowered by doubt, happiness, and a surge of recollections. "Ty," she murmurs, as though saying his name without holding back could cause him to vanish once more. Ty ventures inside, his own feelings scarcely held back. "Amy, I needed to return. I never needed to leave you or Lindy. I thought I'd lost everything, except I'm here now." His voice is crude with feeling, and Amy can see the aggravation and lament carved all over. The get-together is self-contradicting. While Amy is thrilled to see Ty, her psyche races with questions. Where has he been? For what reason did he remain away? Also, what's the significance here for her existence with Nathan? Ty's return brings an influx of trust, yet in addition a tempest of vulnerability. As the storm seethes outside, Amy welcomes Ty into the glow of the outbuilding, where sentiments twirl as strongly as the breeze outside. The get-together is not even close to straightforward. This isn't just about adoration lost and found. It's about the existence Amy has implicit Ty's non-appearance. She went through years lamenting him, attempting to push ahead for their girl, Lindy. However, presently, with Ty remaining before her, beginning and end she assumed she knew is flipped around. Amy's psyche streaks back to her excursion of recuperating, her battles raising Lindy all alone, the vast days contemplating whether she might at any point adore once more, and the reluctant advances she took toward cherishing Nathan. Nathan had been her anchor during her most obscure times, offering equilibrium and solace. Yet, seeing Ty again mixes feelings that she thought she'd abandoned. "I don't have any idea what to say," Amy concedes, her voice shaking. "Ty, I thought I'd at absolutely no point ever see you in the future. I thought you were long gone." Ty checks out at her with a combination of responsibility and yearning. "Amy, I realize I hurt you. I won't ever need to. I thought remaining away was the best way to safeguard you and Lindy, however I was off base. Consistently, I lamented not being hanging around for you." Amy feels the heaviness of his words, however her heart is in unrest. Nathan's adoration has been steady, despite the fact that it hasn't been awesome. However, the association she imparts to Ty is unquestionable. The sort of affection doesn't blur, even with time or distance. She realizes she owes it to the two men and to herself to genuinely go up against her sentiments. The discussion is intruded on when Lindy enters the stable, scouring her languid eyes. She halts abruptly when she sees Ty. "Daddy?" she murmurs, her voice loaded up with disarray and a promise of something better.
Ty bows down, destroys streaming his face as he embraces his little girl without precedent for years. "It's me, Lindy." I'm home.
As Lindy grips to Ty, Amy's heart hurts for the years they've lost as a family. She likewise realizes that Nathan, who has stepped in as a mentor, will be crushed by Ty's return. As first light breaks over Heartland Farm, the excursion ahead is questionable, yet one thing is clear: this gathering will change everything. The warm temperature of the sunrise feels cold to Nathan, who sees the unmistakable change in Amy's disposition. She's far off, her considerations consumed by Ty's astonishing return. Nathan, who has emptied his heart into their relationship, starts to feel that the existence he imagined with Amy is getting endlessly. The insight about Ty's return spreads rapidly through the farm, and Jack, Lou, and the remainder of the family are basically as dazed as Amy. While Jack is more than happy to see Ty, he can't resist the urge to stress over the far-reaching influences Ty's rebound could have on Amy's life. Lou, ever the pragmatist, desires Amy to be mindful. Ty being here makes a huge difference, she says. However, remember how Nathan has helped you and Lindy. He's been there when no other person was. Amy battles to zero in on her day-to-day obligations, and each time she sees Nathan, culpability bothers her. He has no clue about her inner strife, yet he detects something is off. Amy, you've been quiet since last night, Nathan says, approaching her gently. Is everything okay? Did something happen? Amy hesitates, her heart sinking as she prepares to tell him the truth. Nathan, there's something you need to know, she starts, her voice trembling. Ty's back. Nathan freezes, his face a mix of surprise and disbelief. What are you talking about? Ty's gone, Amy. You told me he was. I know, Amy interjects, tears welling up in her eyes. But he's here. He came back last night. Nathan takes a step back, struggling to process her words. What does that mean for us? He asks, his voice barely above a whisper. Amy doesn't have an answer. She looks at Nathan, her heart heavy with the burden of her conflicted emotions. I don't know, she admits. I need time to figure this out. For Nathan, this feels like a betrayal not just by Amy, but by fate itself. He spent years trying to fill the void Ty left behind, only to have Ty walk back into their lives. His love for Amy is real, but he knows he can't compete with a man who was once everything to her. Nathan finds himself at a crossroads. He wants to fight for Amy, but he also knows love isn't something you can force. I've always wanted what's best for you and Lindy, Nathan says, his voice breaking. But I need to know. Do you still love him? Amy looks away, unable to meet his gaze. The silence speaks volumes, and Nathan feels his heart shatter.
Meanwhile, Ty struggles to reintegrate into the family. He knows his return has thrown Amy's life into chaos, and he doesn't want to make things harder for her.
I didn't come back to cause trouble, Ty tells Jack as they work in the barn. I just couldn't stay away anymore. I had to see Amy and Lindy. Jack places a reassuring hand on Ty's shoulder. You've been missed, Ty. But coming back now. It's not going to be easy for anyone. Ty nods, understanding the challenges ahead. He decides to give Amy the space she needs, but his resolve wavers every time he sees her. The love they once shared is still there, just beneath the surface, waiting to be reignited. While Lindy is overjoyed to have her father back, her innocence and excitement bring a glimmer of hope to an otherwise difficult situation. She spends every moment she can with Ty, asking him about the adventures he had while he was away. For Lindy, Ty's return is a dream come true, but for Amy, it's a bittersweet reminder of what they've lost and what they could have again. As the days pass, Nathan begins to withdraw from the family. He spends hours working alone, avoiding the places where he might run into Amy or Ty. The pain of seeing them together is too much to bear, and he starts to consider leaving Heartland for good. Nathan confides in Lou, who tries to convince him to stay. Nathan, you're part of this family now, Lou says. You don't have to leave just because things didn't work out with Amy. But Nathan shakes his head, his expression resolute. I can't stay here, Lou. Not when every corner of this place reminds me of what I've lost. As Amy watches Nathan pull away, she realizes the depth of his love for her and the pain she's caused him. She knows she has to make a decision, but every choice feels like a betrayal of someone she loves. In a quiet moment by the river, Amy reflects on the journey that brought her here. She recalls the love she shared with Ty, the joy, the heartbreak, and how he shaped the woman she's become. But she also thinks about Nathan, the man who stepped in when she needed someone the most, who became a father figure to Lindy and showed her that it was okay to love again. Amy knows she can't have both. She has to choose between the past and the future, between the love she lost and the love she found. As the sun sets over Heartland Ranch, Amy feels the weight of her decision pressing down on her. The next steps she takes will change everything, not just for her, but for Lindy, Ty, and Nathan as well. Night falls over Heartland Ranch, blanketing the rolling fields in a quiet stillness, but inside Amy's heart, a storm rages. She knows the time has come to face Ty and Nathan, two men who represent very different parts of her life. Her love for both is clear, but it's impossible to ignore the reality that one choice will shatter someone's world. "I didn't want to interrupt your routine," Ty starts, his voice gentle. "But I couldn't leave without speaking to you." Amy takes a deep breath, stepping closer. "Ty, I've been trying to make sense of all this. You coming back. It feels like a dream, but it's also turned my world upside down." Ty sets the brush down, his expression earnest. "I understand. I don't deserve a second chance, not after all the pain I've caused you and Lindy. But I came back because I couldn't stay away any longer. You and Lindy are my family." Amy feels tears welling up as she listens to Ty's words. His love for her and Lindy is clear, but it's the pain in his voice that cuts through her. "I never stopped loving you, Ty," she admits, her voice trembling. "But things aren't as simple as they used to be. I've built a life here with Nathan, and he's been so good to me and Lindy." Ty nods, his jaw tightening. "I understand. I don't want to force you into anything. I just had to see you again, to tell you how much you mean to me. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it." The weight of Ty's words hangs in the air as Amy tries to reconcile her emotions. The love she has for Ty is undeniable, but the thought of breaking Nathan's heart fills her with guilt. Meanwhile, Nathan is working in the back paddock, throwing himself into physical exertion to drown out his emotions. Jack approaches him, sensing the younger man's inner turmoil. "Nathan," Jack starts, his tone gentle but firm, "I know you're hurting right now, but walking away from this won't solve anything." Nathan wipes the sweat from his forehead, his frustration obvious. "What am I supposed to do, Jack? Stand by and watch while Amy and Ty pick up where they left off? I can't compete with that." Jack places a hand on Nathan's shoulder, his gaze steady. "You don't have to compete. Amy knows what you've done for her and Lindy. But you need to give her the space to figure things out. Rushing to leave won't help anyone, not you, not Amy, and definitely not Lindy." Nathan nods reluctantly. Although his heart still aches, he knows Jack is right. But the thought of staying at Heartland while Amy decides between him and Ty feels unbearable. Later that evening, Nathan sits on the porch, watching the sun set over the horizon. Amy joins him, her expression somber. She sits beside him, the silence between them heavy with unsaid words. "Nathan," Amy begins, her voice barely above a whisper, "I want to tell you how much you mean to me. You've been my rock, my support system, and a wonderful father figure to Lindy. I don't know how I would have gotten through these past few years without you." Nathan looks at her, his eyes filled with pain and love. Amy reaches for his hand, her eyes brimming with tears. "There is, Nathan," she says, "but I need time to figure this out. I owe it to myself, to Lindy, and to you to make the right decision. Not just the easy one." Nathan squeezes her hand, though his heart feels like it's breaking. "Take all the time you need, Amy. Just know that I love you, and I'll always be here for you, no matter what." In the midst of the chaos, Lindy remains blissfully unaware of the complexities surrounding her mother, father, and Nathan. For her, Ty's return is a source of pure joy, and she cherishes every moment she can spend with him. One afternoon, Lindy finds Amy sitting alone by the river, deep in thought. The young girl climbs into her lap, her innocent questions cutting through Amy's emotional haze. "Mommy, why is Uncle Nathan sad?" Lindy asks, her big eyes full of concern. Amy's heart sinks as she struggles to find the right words. "Sometimes grown-ups have big feelings, sweetie," Amy says softly, "but it's not your fault, and everything will be okay." Lindy tilts her head, studying her mother's face. "Do you still love Daddy?" Amy feels a lump in her throat as she nods. "Yes, Lindy. I'll always love your daddy, and I'll always love you too." Lindy smiles, wrapping her arms around Amy's neck. "Then everything will be okay. Daddy's back, and Uncle Nathan is still here. We're a family." Amy hugs her daughter tightly, wishing it were that easy. But Lindy's words spark something in her, a reminder of what really matters. The tension between Ty and Nathan finally comes to a head after they cross paths at the barn. Ty is working on one of the horses when Nathan walks in, his expression guarded. "Ty," Nathan says, straightening up. "I was wondering when we'd run into each other." Nathan crosses his arms, his tone cool. "I figured we'd have this conversation eventually."
The men stand in silence for a moment, the air thick with unspoken tension. Finally, Nathan speaks. "I won't lie, I'm angry," he admits. "Not just because you're back, but because I know what it means for Amy and Lindy. I've spent years building a life with them, and now everything feels like it's slipping away."
Ty nods, his expression serious. "I understand, Nathan. And I'm not here to take anything away from you. But I can't pretend I don't love Amy and Lindy. They're my family too." Nathan takes a deep breath, his emotions threatening to overwhelm him. "All I want is for Amy to be happy," he says. "If that means stepping aside, I'll do it. But she deserves to make that choice without pressure from either of us." Ty looks at Nathan, a newfound respect forming between them. "Agreed," he says. "Amy needs to figure out what's best for her and Lindy, and whatever she chooses, we'll have to accept it." The men exchange a nod, a silent understanding passing between them. Though the road ahead is uncertain, they both know that their love for Amy and Lindy will guide their actions. The days following Ty and Nathan's encounter are filled with emotional turmoil for everyone at Heartland. The air is charged with unspoken questions and quiet anticipation as Amy grapples with the toughest decision of her life. One evening, as the golden light of the setting sun bathes the ranch in warmth, Amy finds herself sitting with Jack on the porch. The two share a comforting silence before Amy finally speaks. "Jack, I feel like I'm being torn in two," she admits, her voice heavy with emotion. "No matter what I decide, someone's going to get hurt." Jack takes a sip of his coffee, his gaze steady. "Amy, you've always had a way of following your heart. It's what makes you who you are. But this isn't just about you, it's about Lindy too. Whatever choice you make, it has to be the one that's best for her." Amy nods, her eyes filling with tears. "I just don't want to make the wrong decision. I love Ty, but I can't forget everything Nathan has done for me and Lindy." Jack places a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You'll find the answer, Amy. Just take some time and trust yourself. You've got more strength than you realize." Amy looks at Jack, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I will. For Lindy, and for me, I need time to figure out what that means." Ty nods, his expression resolute. "I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together for Lindy's sake." As the anxiety slowly eases, Amy feels a sense of peace she hasn't felt in years. She knows that the road ahead won't be easy, but she's confident that, with time, they'll find a way to coexist. The next day, the family gathers for dinner, a rare moment of harmony amid the chaos. Lindy sits between Ty and Nathan, happily chatting about her day. Amy watches her daughter, her heart swelling with hope. Jack raises a glass, his voice steady as he speaks to the family. "Whatever shape it takes, May we always find our way back to each other. The clinking of glasses echoes through the room as the family toasts to a new beginning. For the first time in a long time, Amy feels like she's exactly where she's supposed to be. Heartland Season 19, Episode 1 sets the stage for an emotionally charged season filled with love, heartache, and the power of family. Amy's decision to embrace both Ty and Nathan in Lindy's life showcases her growth and resilience. But it also raises questions about what the future holds for the trio. Will Ty and Nathan find a way to coexist at Heartland? Can Amy truly move forward while honoring her past? And how will Lindy's innocence shape the relationships around her?